What is good, everybody? What is good? It's Big Game James back in the building. It's the Big Star Show. We back in the building, and guess what? We got a big game coming up this Sunday. A lot of things to rehash. Some things that are in the air right now that we're definitely going to talk about. But let me stop doing all that talking. Let me introduce my beautiful co-host. What's up, Star? How you doing?
What's up, Big? What's up, everybody in the chat? Glad to see everybody tonight. Of course, we got a lot of things to get into tonight, so I say let's jump right into it. Please like the video, please share, and please subscribe to our YouTube channels if y'all haven't done so already.
Yes, definitely do that. Jump on those. We're dual right now, so you can be in either show. You can hop in one show, hop in the other show. So make sure you hit the like button on both of those. Share as much as you can, and let's let this get out there. What's good with everybody in the building? But we know what happened this past Sunday. It was an ugly showing against these Buffalo Bills. I had the feeling about it. I was saying that this could be the game. Dak might have an interception. This might just be that wonky game, and it came
Yeah.
to fruition. What I thought it was going to be. I knew it was going to be this game. But give me your real quick thoughts about Buffalo, and then we're going to jump into some other things right now.
I think with Buffalo, like ultimately, I don't think anybody expected. I mean, nobody expected us to get blown out like that, but that's what happens when you get exposed that you can't stop the run, and you have smart offensive coordinators. They're like, well, let's just keep doing this. Why risk it? Because with Josh Allen, he makes plays, but he also throws a lot of interceptions, and it was very windy. The ball was flying high out of Josh's hand and Dak's hands. People kept commenting. The commentators, everybody was commenting like these balls is flying weird out of their hands. They usually don't miss these throws, and I'm like, yeah. Like even that deep shot that Dak tried to get to Cooks. Cooks was like, it looked like the ball was going right in my hands, and then all of a sudden it just flies like a couple of yards. So anyway, Dak said it best. Like we really just got by the system. It was a cold, rainy, windy day. We wasn't able to stick, which I wouldn't say we wasn't able to. I don't know why we ended up getting away from the run, especially when Tony Pollard was running so hard. It seemed like the game plan was to use Tony Pollard, but all of a sudden in the second drive, we said pass, 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 and it was 3 and out. So I don't really know why Mike got away from it. I don't know why we had such stagnant routes. It literally just looked like a replay of the 49ers game. So I don't know why we rolled out there like that. We have been top in the league, not number one, but like top 10, top 5 in the league in motion, play action and stuff. And then all of a sudden we get to this game, we're barely motioning, we're barely doing any play action. We're forcing. To me, it looked like pressing because we're going for two route play action on 3rd and 1. It just was that weird wonky game where it's like if you don't stay in the context of your game plan in the system, you're gonna get got. And I think Micah said they didn't expect them to run the ball like that. And if you pay attention, they have been using James Cook and stuff a lot more. But I don't think they expected them to just have Josh Allen pass the ball. Only have 7 completions. Like no one expected that. But the Josh Allen, his coordinator said, like, hey, Dan Quinn wouldn't get out of his, or as I call him, Dan Moore, wouldn't get out of his nickel and dime package. So there's like, why fix if it's not broken? Don't fix it. So ultimately, we got, and now we're like, well, it's been we all know it. Not stopping the run has been our Achilles heel in the playoffs for I don't know how long. And every year we get, and it catches up to us because everyone gets tainted. Oh, well, look, we're actually top in the league in run defense, all this stuff. But it's like, that's because these are not teams that choose to line up and run the ball against us. And one thing that I think that's important, this is the last thing I'll say about it, but it's important for playoffs is right now we're sitting at the second seed. If we finish out of the second seed, most likely we're going to be playing somebody like right now we will be playing the Rams. It could be the Rams, it could be the Saints. These are teams, Sean McVay and the Rams, these are teams that Sean McVay or if we got to play like the Saints or something like that or Buffalo, or Green Bay. These are teams that if they can run the ball down our throat and win the game, they will. Like, even though they have weapons and they might want to pass the ball, but Sean McVay has showed us, I will run the ball down your throat. I don't have to pass it at all because people don't, in playoffs, it's just a different game. It's a different game. So, but that's my thoughts on that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I totally excuse me, feel you on that. Now, remember when we did our show last week and we were talking about the Buffalo offense, I highlighted a few things, especially sorry if I'm in the dark, my light went out and I'm not fixing it. So this will be the night
Okay.
that'll be the light and this will be the dark. So you'll be all right. But what I was saying was that when you looked at the offense and their 6 losses, 4 of their losses was when they, as a team, did not rush over 100 yards. So that I said that's something that we want to be able to do to them is not let them run the ball and not as a team let them get over 100 because when you keep them as a team under 100 yards, they lose. We also talked about Josh Allen. And most of his losses, and 6 of his losses, is that's when he threw a high amount of passes, around 35 to 40 a game. I said, that's what we want to do, right? And we did the exact opposite of what I wanted us to do because that was kind of the formula to really beat them. And then, as you said before, the winds were swirling. If Buffalo saw that this is not good weather and we're just going to run, then why don't we see it? And
why didn't we do that?
And you know what else, Star? I'm gonna also say this with Mike McCarthy. I think just like I think he let that weather affect his play calling, and I feel like because that weather, well, we don't want to do a lot of motion because we don't want turnovers in our own, our own field, our own side of the field, our own territory. We don't need it to snowball, so let's not go out and do that. That's what I feel like in my heart. He got conservative because of that weather. And we're not going to do all the tricky things that we usually do. We're not going to show that because it's too crazy and I don't want mistakes out here. So we're going to keep it close to the vest and we pay for it because conservative don't work. Aggressive always does. Because in that Buffalo game, they may not have been throwing the ball, but they were hella aggressive with that run game. They were very aggressive. They didn't give
aggressive. They were running the same play over and over and over and over and over again. And you're right. Like we talked about this with Mike. Like, it seems like in these big games, he overthinks it. And he just, like you said, he starts nutting up. He just like, it's like, Mike, what are we doing out here? Like, we've already tried to run this type of stagnant route game plan. You're sending two receivers in the seven defenders. So and I watched Chase Daniels QB breakdown, and he's like, listen, like, there's nowhere for Dak to go with the ball. Like, where is he supposed to go with the ball here with these routes? He's like, everything is so stagnant. He's like, sure, this play here, CD gets open, but Tyler Biotis gets blown off the ball. So Dak's like, oh, shoot, let me try to scramble out of here. And he missed CD. That was like the one play, that and Brandon Cooks was like the one play you would say, okay, Dak, you missed that because of pressure or just because, the wind carried it. But other than that, Dak's like, I got nowhere to go with the ball. And so when that happens and then you getting pressure on top of that, your quarterback's not going to look good. They're going to look like, and then that interception, Dak in the first half made that layered throw. It was like the best throw of the night. That they ran Buffalo. It was basically a bait play because Buffalo basically looked like they was running the exact same thing, but they ended up getting them because Dak thought they was in, I think, maybe cover 2 man, and then the corner ended up dropping back in that zone and picked Dak right off. So it was just like, I mean, you can't really win for losing it. It's just like we had to stick to the run game and take our shots when necessary to defeat that defense who sits in quarters and cover 2 all freaking game. And attack the middle of the field, which we didn't do, which I assume Mike didn't want to do that because Intercept. It's the same stuff we said when we was playing in San Francisco. He don't want to. He wants to be conservative. He wants to protect the ball. He doesn't want to give opportunity for interceptions. And guess what? We played scared. We played
And
tight to
we
the
don't,
vest,
and we always
and
get
we
blown out.
lost.
We always
Yeah, and we lost,
we don't just lose. We get our butts kicked.
and we got
So
blown out. So,
that's what I'm looking at. Because if you look at our four losses, and three of those losses when we were ultra conservative, right? We got blown out.
yep, every
Um,
single one of
every
them.
single of our games when he got ultra conservative, they've been blowouts. And if you look at
Yep.
that Eagles game, I'll say, don't you start that run pass. And he started out like that, and I said, okay, here we go. Don't do that. And
Uh-huh.
then he came out of it. But once again, I believe that when we got the ball back in that Cavante Turpin long run that got us good field position, got him
Uh-huh.
comfortable enough where he's like, okay, let me get out of this. Because if I
Mm-hmm.
feel like we started on our own 20 after they jumped on us like that, I feel like he would have still stayed conservative with us. So thank God for Cavante Turpin on that play
Yep.
to kind of bring him out of that shell. And
Out of it. Yep.
also to your point, what you were talking about the run game, I said this on the final word, Star, as well, echoing
Mm-hmm.
what you were saying. 2014, Dallas was only giving up like 89 yards a game.
Mm-hmm.
2016, they were giving up only like 95 yards a game. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're hearing the press clippings and everybody, they're saying Dallas Cowboys are top in, they're number one, number two in rushing. No, it's not that. It's not we don't have a great rushing defense. Don't be deceived. And I would always say, stop being deceived. We don't have a good run defense. Is that we're
Mm-hmm.
jumping out on these teams so early that they're getting out the run game and they're throwing the ball, and we don't have to deal with that. But when teams
Yep.
stay with the run, just like you said, when they've stayed against the run, no matter what year, 2007 to 2023, it don't matter. When teams
Doesn't
have
matter.
decided to get physical with our team and be
Mm-hmm.
hard-headed and run like 40 to 50 times on us, it's usually a bad result on our defense. It hasn't changed.
Yep.
Even if you got Mozzie, the bad part of this is we get ready to talk about Miami was the things that are coming up that were I was questioning at the beginning. Star was
Yep.
I didn't want Bohanna to go. Okay, because I thought Bohanna was coming into his own, and I said you need three guys, 3-1-0 techs this year because of
Yeah.
injuries. Because Hankins is over 30, and Mozzie,
Mm-hmm.
they put too much trust in Mozzie that he was going to come out like and do that, and he wasn't ready. And we're suffering because we don't have a Ridgeway who we lost, we don't
Yep.
have a Bohanna who we let go, and we're undersized once again because
Once
Mozzie done
again.
lost some weight. So now we're undersized once again. And now you notice that
And,
my guy, Mike
and
White, told me, he said he's
yeah.
under 300 pounds. He has
Yep.
lost weight.
James, that's a big game. That when y'all said that, I said that y'all the only people who are talking about that. Mozzie lost a significant amount of
A
weight.
significant amount of
A
weight.
significant amount of weight. And I'm like, wonder why that was. It's like, you see what I'm talking about there? And the
Yep.
reason why I get mad is because Dan Quinn, I listen to Dan Quinn, I listen to Sharif Floyd, all these guys. It was so focused on the run game. That's why we took Mozzie in the first, because we know teams are going to attack us. They're going to attack our run game. They're going to do this, and we're going to develop these guys, yada, yada, all this stuff. And then if that was the case, why did you have Mozzie lose all of this weight? They did that same thing to Quentin Bohanna, because
That's
when
what I
we
was
saw
just
Quentin
about to say. Yep.
when we saw Quentin Bohanna offseason, we're like,
Where'd all
why
that
is
weight
you
go? Because he was
what-
he was 360 getting ready to come out of college. Damn near he was like 315, 320 when he was there. Because remember, just to your point, Star, we were all
Yeah.
looking at him because when I seen Bohanna, I said, hold up. Bohanna done lost too much weight, dog. You
Too
got
much
him
weight.
you got him to be the space eater, not to be some guy who can like rush the passer and
rush
shoot
the
the gap.
passer?
And
Mhm.
that's the problem. They were talking about having that plan for Mozzie about trying to be able to rush a passer.
He's gonna rush
He's
the
not
passer
ready.
too.
He's not ready for that. And now you
Nope.
done put him behind the 8 ball where he's done lost that weight and teams are
Mhm.
bullying him and moving him out the way, and he's not effective. So now you're having to play Chauncey Golston and those guys and Gallimore. They're undersized. Those
They're
teams
all
know it.
undersized.
They're all undersized. Them teams know it. And once they get a double team on you, they're gonna come. They get that linebacker. They get that linebacker out their way. They get to that second level, and you saw what happens. So, they got to fix that.
Yep. Then and that's on Dan Quinn and this scheme of we got to get to the passer, we got to get to the passer, we got to get to the passer, and it's like y'all knew. That's what I'm saying. It's like y'all said one thing, but it comes to the point where it's another thing. You said you were going to be focused on stopping especially the D tackles were going to be more focused on stopping the run. But yet now you had our biggest, strongest guy. We drafted him in the first round to stop the run. And now he's having trouble because he's lost a lot of weight. So now you have these 300-pound guards and stuff double teaming him. And it's not like Mozzie's on the ground. I'm not gonna say it like that. Like he ain't on the ground every play
Right.
or anything like
Right.
that. But he's just not able to completely dominate and maybe pierce through those double teams and get those guys off of them to make a play in the backfield and stuff like that. So that's Dan Quinn and this scheme. It's all about rushing the passer. It's not about stopping the run. And I think about another game last year. Remember the Bears game? Now we
Yep.
won that game, but why did we win that game? Because we were scoring on pretty much every
Hmm.
single drive. They talked about that like, wow, this is the first time Dallas just scoring on every single. That's the only reason why we won that game, because the Bears, they stayed with the run.
They were moving the ball at will, and Justin Fields was killing us.
We was getting killed. The only reason why we won that game is because we was scoring
Right.
every single drive. That's it. Because they
And
kept running the ball. They ran over 200 yards on us. They
yeah,
sure did.
and guess what? You just saying that, Star, that just makes me want to throw up right now, because when you just said that, that makes me think of Miami, because the only way we're going to be in this game is if we score points. Me and my guy Mike had that show, and we both said
Yep.
we're going to score 28 to 30 points to win this game, because if we don't, we're going to lose.
Yeah, we gonna look at my keys to victory, but I'm like, listen, the only teams that have beat when the teams have beat them, they didn't. Some teams didn't have to score so much, like Kansas City. But the thing, there's keys, and we'll talk about on my keys to victory. But there's a reason why that was that they didn't have to score as much, because there are certain things you can do to that Miami offense where you can. The teams who beat them are the teams who limited certain things and made certain things happen, which I think that we will have an advantage in this game because of our pass rush and the injuries on their O line. But regardless, they're going to test our run game. So regardless, we know we're going to have to go in there and we're going to have to stop it or limit the run, because these guys are super fast. A-Chain and Mostert, they're basically like, you make one missed bad angle,
And it's all bad.
like it's gone. They're going for touchdowns. Like,
Mhm.
Jonathan Wilson and Curse, all them bad angles they was
Oh
taking
my
this week,
God.
it's
Oh
not going to
Lord.
be 10, 15 yards. It's going to be
It's gonna
touchdowns.
be 60, 70. It's gonna be 60, 70-yard touchdowns if you miss these tackles. If you
Like,
don't
you
bear
cannot
down,
miss a tackle.
miss tackles and communication, y'all have to be on point on this
Yep.
game defensively, or it could get real ugly.
Real ugly.
We're gonna talk about your keys, but we're gonna talk about a subject right quick that the
Hmm.
one of the reasons why this has got blown up is because when we were getting killed in the run game, people were talking about Micah Parsons going back to playing off-ball linebacker.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna read what he said, because we had one section saying, "Are you crazy? You're making him play off ball. He ain't good at that." And then we had other section like, "Yeah, he can. He's a generational player. He can do it. He can do
Hmm.
it." And I know the split, but I ain't gonna start no wars out here. But I know the split.
Hmm.
I know the
Yep.
split. Okay, just so
Hmm.
y'all know, I know the split. Okay, I just ain't gonna start
Uh-huh.
no wars tonight. But anyway,
Hmm.
so Micah comes in, and I want to say this too, Star. Me and you were just talking about it before we started the show. How the
Hmm.
power of Twitter and the power of us content creators are really having, and the fans, the power of social media now. Because
Yep.
remember, Star, back in the day, when I was coming up, you just watched ESPN, you watched CBS Network, and that's how you got
Hmm.
your football. Or you read the USA Today. Yeah, I was out here at Columbus Dispatch, or you read the
Yep.
Dallas News. You read those type of things that get you
Hmm.
close to the game. But that was the
Yep.
closest you was going to get to it. Now, but with social media and the content creators of the world, we have really kicked the door in and really pushed through. So now, hey, they could even be watching this show right now.
Yep.
These guys are watching Twitter. These players are watching Twitter. These players are responding now back to Twitter. They are responding back to your
Yep.
tweets.
They
Um,
sure.
so people are now more cautious when they tweet now,
Hmm.
because you might get flamed up with the you might get
Yep.
flamed up on a tweet
That's
now. So
true.
people are
That's
tiptoeing
true.
on their tweets and watching because these players are looking. But to that
Hmm.
point, though, Star, we're having an impact because now what we're talking about with Dan Quinn, hey man, you got to do something out here. What are we gonna do with Micah Parsons? And Micah Parsons responded, which we knew he was, because you ain't gonna have this much talk on Twitter from all these people, and y'all ain't
Yep.
gonna jump into it. So this is
Yep.
what Micah Parsons had to say about the switch to off-ball linebacker. He said it's because teams are running the ball and people like to panic. I probably lead every category in pass rushing besides sacks. People are nuts. And if people watch film, they take shots and pass more when I'm off ball or out the game. We have to get better, period. And that's after Marcus Mosher says, I can't believe so many of you Cowboys want Micah Parsons to move off ball linebacker. What happened to y'all? And y'all Marcus, y'all, nobody said full time. Nobody said full time.
Exactly.
Nobody said
Exactly.
full time. People were saying he can do it because he has the ability to be able to
He has
play
the
off
ability.
ball linebacker and rush the
Hmm.
passer. So why
Yep.
not use him like that as the chess piece? Because you're going to need him in the run game. My question though was, Star, and I want to ask
Hmm.
you because I'm going to show these highlights while we're talking about it. My thing
Yep.
was, I know he can do it because we've seen it in that Minnesota game his rookie year, and we've seen it before. But
We've seen it.
does he have the want to? Because you got to
Hmm.
want to communicate
Yep.
and get these guys over here and over there. You're going to have to think.
Hmm.
You're not going to be able to just react to the game, and you're not going to probably be able to get those maybe the opportunities to sack as much. So I don't know if you really want to do it that much. So I don't want you there if you're not going to be that guy there, because it's just going to hurt the team. And I want to get your thoughts on it.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and this is what I like. I understand that Micah, and I don't know. Some people say it's because of the money. I don't know, but clearly he putting out this tweet. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to move to linebacker.
Nope, he don't.
He doesn't feel like him playing off linebacker is that important. And this is my issue with this. And I quote tweeted and I responded to Micah and I told him, I said, hey Micah, like no one is asking you to move to off ball linebacker full time. We're not even saying right now this year to move to middle linebacker. I'm not asking Micah to move to middle linebacker where he's got to set up the defense and he's got to read and he's got to dissect. You can literally we're just asking you move to a position just like he is here. LVE is the middle. Micah is basically like you would say like the wheel or whoever, either the weak or the strong side.
Right.
Right. So that's all we're asking because he can, when he's in the middle of the field and not contained on the edge, he can make the disruption that we need him to make. If Micah can do that, if he can help us stop the run, then we can get teams into saying, hey, just give up because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Now we can put Micah on the edge and we can let him and the rest of this team do what they do best, which is rush the passer. We just need his help in that area. We're not saying strictly just move, try to make Micah Fred Warner. He's not Fred Warner, but he's also not Myles Garrett or TJ Watt. He's Micah Parsons. He has a very unique skill set that not any defensive player in the league has.
Mm-hmm.
So why would we as fans say let's limit him? I mean, look at this game. And in this game, Micah clearly wanted to play linebacker because
he took it personal in that game because they were talking about Cook. Mm-hmm.
Right. You can see how he's moving all over the field. Every time he makes a tackle, he's getting up, he's screaming, he's getting pumped up. Like he wanted to do it, and he was a game. What we want to see as fans is we're tired of our best player getting eliminated from game plans on the edge because they know what to do. Either we'll run away from Micah and make him chase backside. And you can see Jay Tuck posted the film of him in Buffalo. When Micah kept having to chase backside, this is what he was doing.
Getting frustrated like a mother. That's what I was talking about.
Loafing all around. Around. Getting mad.
Yep.
That's what he does. That's what he does because you're basically getting eliminated. Or they just run the counter trap at Micah where they just have two guards or a tie, whatever, pushing on him, throwing him to the ground. And it's just frustrating them. So we're like, Micah, why can't we put you in a position where they can't do that to you? That's what we're saying. Like, look at this. Look at what Micah is doing. Even when Micah makes mistakes, and I know people say, well, we don't want to move the linebacker because when he makes mistakes, it's bad. I'm like, do you see Micah's recovery speed? Like the guy, even if there was a play on here, I think where he kind of got faked out, I think, by Kirk Cousins or oh no, that wasn't this game. That was in the Broncos game his rookie year.
But I
But
remember,
like,
I remember exactly the play you're talking about.
right,
We got
he
faked and he
crashed.
recovered. He
Right.
came right back and recovered and still made the play.
Yeah, I think it's right here. Like
Might be here.
he recovered and still made the play. So it's like Micah obviously doesn't he's not gonna get the cerebral, but we're just asking, look at this. That's just pure instincts. Micah knows more now. He knows more. Now, is he on the Fred Warner or the what's that guy over there in Ravensland? That linebacker, is he on their level? No, we're not saying he's on their level right now.
Roquan Smith.
Yeah, Roquan Smith, but he's got the ability. Teams have figured out how to eliminate Micah from game plans. And if we keep him locked on that edge all game when teams want to run the ball on us. If a team's not going to run the ball, then okay, you can lock Micah at edge. That's fine. But if teams are saying, hey, I'm going to run the ball on you all day until you show me you can stop it, let Micah stop it. He's our best player. Like, let him put a stop to this. So I don't know. And I just think it comes down to the coaching and stuff like that, really explaining to him why they need him. You know, we as fans, we can plead and beg with Micah, but at the end of the day, you know, I think our thoughts it does affect the players. I think it affects him, but I think, like, here's that play. You see that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Made the tackle himself. Like, he can do it. Like, we know he can do it. He just has to buy in. I mean, he talks about how he's going to have to chase Tyreek Hill this week. I just want Micah to want better. I want him to want to actually be the greatest. He has potential to be one of the greatest defensive players the league has ever seen. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, he's just versatile. And he's not a strictly this or strictly that. He's both. So he needs to develop both so that he can really be all that he can be. Like, people keep talking about, well, let's just move TJ Watt. I'm like, Micah Parsons is way faster and way more athletic than TJ Watt. Like, I don't know. It's not the same. Like, yeah. Micah Parsons is not the same as those guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I feel you. And shout out to Okoye for the great video. Okoye always comes with that fire with those videos. So shout out to him for that video we just displayed right there. But just, I mean, everything you said, man, I mean, I don't ever want to just have a show where we're disagreeing all day, but damn, you're saying everything right this damn show. What else am I supposed to say? I mean, I can't do nothing but agree with you right here because you're spitting flames right now. Because we were talking about these same things that you were talking about. We were talking about these on the final word about. Listen, I said I don't question Micah's effort. I don't ever feel like he's just a guy that takes plays off. He's not that guy, but. I said when I watch him in that run game, when he's just got to chase running backs all game, just like you said, when he gets frustrated. You saw in that Buffalo game, every play I just said I'm just going to watch him. When they ran away from him, when he wasn't involved in that play, you were so right. I was saying he was throwing his head up. He was getting frustrated. He was getting frustrated. He was throwing, you could just see it on his face. He was just frustrated and he was mad. And I feel like that kind of takes him out the game.
It does. It makes him check out mentally. He checks out mentally.
Yeah, it feels like
when he can't get involved, when he can't get involved, it just makes him just get frustrated and check it. And that's why we're asking him, like, Micah, you can't.
That's why we want to have you at linebacker a little bit so you can stay involved. If you look at that game, and just like you said in that Minnesota game, we remember in that game when they were talking about they were going to play him a more backer that particular game. And he said he was taking it personal because they were talking about how Dalvin Cook was going to run all over our defense. They were highlighting how Cook was going to kill us because he had been running on us prior. He took that game personally, just like you said, Star. He took that game personal. You saw him from the first snap. You were like, okay, yeah, dog, y'all in trouble because Micah.
I remember that game.
I remember that game. We all remember that game. That's why Okoye played.
I knew he was going to win that game I knew it. The first series. I said, we going to win this game. Micah was turned all the way up.
We are beating them. We are. As soon as that first play, I said, we are beating them. We are not losing because Micah is going to carry us that game. And he had an 11 tackle game. That was one of his best tackle games in his career. You get what I'm saying? So that shows that you can do it. But like we're saying, Micah, We don't need you to be doing it all daggone game. But
No,
when the coaches tell you we're getting gashed in the run, we need you to go over there and play that backer and then embrace it. Not get
embrace.
frustrated,
Right.
embrace it. Show that leadership and embrace it and go. Because when you go
That's
and
the
show
key.
that,
Leadership.
you turn everybody else up. When they see you turning up, that's going to raise the energy of the whole team and the defense. But when they
Yep.
looking at you and seeing you getting frustrated and uh that's not I'm not hating, but
That's
that's not
not
leader
leadership.
that's not
That's
leadership.
not leadership.
And anybody who's looking at that from the side is gonna be like, come on, dog. You know what I'm saying? We need you right now.
Exactly.
You're the one guy who we don't need being frustrated. You're the one guy who we need to be in the game
We
because we
need you to be
need
locked
you.
in.
We need you to
Exactly.
be locked in because if you're not, our defense is going to suffer
Yep.
badly. And we are
Yep.
seeing it when it's happening. So that's all we're saying, Micah. Y'all watching Twitter. Y'all watch these tweets. Y'all jump in our tweets all the time. So if y'all watching this show,
Mm-hmm.
dog, that's all we're saying, Micah. That's all we're saying. And y'all
That's
out
all
there in
we're
these
saying.
streets, don't get mad at us because we telling y'all to tackle better. Don't get mad at us because we telling you to tackle better, dog.
Right.
That ain't something
Tack-
we ain't trying to point fingers, but dog, you don't
you
tackle,
gotta
we gonna
do
lose.
exactly like you gotta tackle. And Mike, the big word you said was leadership. Leaders, and maybe we need to make it. Maybe Micah's not a leader. I don't know. I mean, because leaders do what's best for the group that they are leading. They make choices for the people that they are leading. That's why they're a leader.
That's why Dak is the way he is.
Exactly. So, Micah, if you're gonna say, "Listen, I don't know what they doing back there. I don't. This is
Right.
my job to contain the edge. I
And
don't care what
that
they
was
doing
that.
back there.
Oh my God, I hated that
I
answer.
don't exactly. I don't want to. I don't care about it. If you're gonna say, listen, I don't care if we're getting gas. That's the moan. That's the moan and Marquise Bell fault. That ain't my problem. Then you're
Because
not
that's
the
what it
leader we're
sound. Because
looking
that's
for.
what it sounded like, didn't it?
That's what it sounds like. You're not the because you're basically telling us, I don't give a damn. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm not about to switch no positions for nobody. I want to be on the edge and chase the quarterback. So that's up to Dan Quinn and the rest of y'all to figure that out. If that's your mindset, Micah, then we have a problem. We have a problem because our best player is literally refusing to lead. Like you're refusing to be a leader. And I have a problem. It don't matter. And I listened yesterday to your show with Mike, and he said Michael studies film and all that stuff. That's great, but we need you to step up for. That's what leaders do. You got to step up for the team. Him and CD are just alike because CD's the same way. When games are not going our way,
He pouts.
he checks out. He checks out of the game. He starts running lazy routes. He starts doing exactly like
Dropping
Micah,
big passes. Yep. Oh,
dropping big
that's the
passes.
biggest thing you just did right there, Star. When you did your head, that's the biggest thing. That I be.
That's what
They
they
do.
start doing. They start pouting. They start pouting.
and
And giving up. Just
I,
give it up. Like
we can't have that, y'all. And I know
y'all
y'all
supposed to be our
young.
leaders.
Y'all, I know y'all young, but y'all got to be the leaders. But hey, you know what? We were talking about this too about Zach Martin. I don't care because Zach Martin be pouting
Zach
too.
Martin too.
You be pouting, bro. Because I remember in 2020 when Terrence Steele needed
We
help out
needed
there,
help.
we needed you to jump out there at that tackle because he said, "No, I don't play no tackle, dog. I don't do that. He gonna have to learn on his own. I'm sticking at this guard." And then right before the season, we know you want to get your money, but the timing, it just so
I hated that too. I didn't appreciate that from Zach Martin either. I didn't appreciate it. Now I talked about that at length. Like that doesn't set a good example. And Zach has been truthfully this year, and everybody's pointed it out, he's not having the best year. But why? Because I think he's having to compensate. He's having to help Tyler Biadasz. He's having to help Terrence Steele. And so it's like Zach,
and he's older.
And he's older. And then you missed all that time because you was holding out for contracts. And it's just like you gotta be for the team. You gotta do what's best for the team. That's the only way that Super Bowls are won. When everybody says, I'm gonna be selfless, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to help us win. When players are saying, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that, somebody else can do that. When you have that from the best players on the team, that's toxic. And how is that being the example for the ones below you? It's not a good example. Then you have everybody with that mindset of that selfishness. It's selfish. It's what it is. I mean, I don't know any other way to say it, but it's a selfish mindset. And it's not going to help us win a Super Bowl being like that.
I know. I mean, like I said, I agree with you with that. And when players are like, because I mean, I played, I coached, we done sports, and this ain't just a sports thing. This is a work thing because
It's a work
if
thing.
you're at work and you're doing these same type of things that we're talking about, being selfish, I don't, that ain't my production. I work here. I don't got to
Not my
worry about
problem.
that. That's not my problem. Well, that's going to cause things at work, and then your production maybe is not as good. Maybe you don't get
Mm-hmm.
as long now. Maybe those
Mm-hmm.
things start creeping, and then you're not doing the best at your job. So this ain't no
Yep.
different from no job. You know what I'm saying? This is
Not
some
any different.
certain things, and when you have the leadership and you have the ability that those guys have, you have to show it because those guys are following you. Those younger guys are following you as well. So you got to
Yep.
continue to step up. Now, let me give this shout out to Mr. Kenneth Lott for the $5. Holly says Dak MVP. Go get Harrison in the first round. That's an easy A to do it. But I ain't trying to talk about no drafts right now because if we talking about drafts,
No.
that means we sitting home.
Our,
I don't want to talk about
exactly.
no
Our
damn draft
season's
right
over.
now. Our season is over. We talking about any kind of draft.
Yeah,
I
let's not
definitely
talk
don't
about
want to
that.
talk about that. But let's get
Yeah,
into the
no
keys
stress.
of the game for these Miami Dolphins because this is that scary game. I'm nervous. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't scared, but I'm nervous of these jokers because that damn speed. If they get out on us early, oh boy, and we ain't matching points, this could be bad. But let's pull up these uh
Yep.
keys to victory that we know, stars keys to the victory, and let's start with this first one that you had a great one when you did them Rams about keeping Cooper Cup and Pakua. Say his damn name.
I'm sorry, what's his name? Puka Nakua. Puka Nakua, that's his
Puka
name.
Nakua. You had
Puka
to.
Nakua.
I was like, Star. I don't know if we're gonna relegate these receivers like that. They might have big games, and we both kept them. We haven't had 100-yard receivers. They haven't been doing against us, but.
Hmm.
I don't know about this one right here, but talk about that first. Talk about that first
Yeah,
one, though, Star.
when I went through and I looked at the Dolphins' losses, Hill and Waddle were kept under 100 yards. So that means you cannot. Now they still both had about maybe 60. Well, Hill's got 60 in a touchdown. Waddle's got 70. So they're gonna get yards. They're too fast to not get yards unless you're literally just Tua just can't get a pass off. But if
Mhm.
Tua can get passes off, and they're gonna do
They're gonna
stuff
hit
where
them
Tua's
short routes, those
right,
screen
short,
passes. Yep.
in the rounds, right. So they're gonna do all those things. So their guys are gonna get yards, but you can limit them. So this is a game where you don't want you want to just give up a little here, a little here, a little here, but you don't want one of them to take over the game. Because if one
Right.
of them take over the game, Hill or Waddle, and they have over 100 yards, likely when they get over 100 yards, they got a touchdown somewhere in there, sometimes two touchdowns. That's what you don't want. So this is a game where you have to limit those guys however you can. This is definitely not a game where Dan Quinn or Dan Moore, you can't sit in man all day versus this team.
Hell no.
Like you're gonna have to play zone. You're gonna have to, try
Confuse,
to
switch it up, move
confuse,
around. Don't sit in the
mix it
same
up.
thing and make it give. I didn't mean to cut you off, Star,
No, it's
but
okay.
give exotic looks. Don't sit there with one base defense so they can figure it out and then they start
Right.
picking you apart. You got to be
Exactly.
creative in this defense against this team, Dan, because this is a game I feel like we need for psyche. Well, this is a
Yep.
psyche game for us
This is a psyche
because
game.
if we go in there and we lose this one, I don't care how good you think you are. It's going to start playing in the back of your mind. Can we
It
win on the
is.
road? Can we
It
win on the
is.
road?
It is going to start playing, and it's imperative that we continue to win out so that we can have some sort of control over our own destiny. Like this is a game. Like we need to win this game. We have to find a way to limit these playmakers some way somehow. And another thing that Gilly said, I posted it on
I
Twitter.
seen that. That was great.
Yeah, when
That
Gilly
was
was
great.
like, because they were like, well, do you just try to keep them underneath, or do you try to get up in their face and knock off time? And he's like, both. He's like, you got to do both to these guys. He said, you can't on 3rd and 3 be 10 yards off the ball.
Right.
Like, if you do that, they go eat you up all day long. So this is probably Dan Quinn's biggest test of the year. Well, you could say second, because I guess the first would be the 49ers, but that he had to go through. So this is going to be his second biggest test. And when you look at the 49ers and you look at the Miami Dolphins, they're basically the same team. The Miami Dolphins are just slightly less physical. But
But
literally
they faster, in my opinion, though.
but they're faster. Yeah, but they're faster. Miami is second in total offense, second in total defense, and uh 49ers is first. So, and guess what? Even down to the special teams. My I think San Francisco is like 27th in special teams and Miami is 28th. So like these teams are
So
like
they like carbon
pretty much
copies. Yeah.
they're pretty much identical. And we see what Kyle Shanahan does to defenses. You see what Mike McDaniels does to defenses. And just like you said, Big, these are teams he's going to be looking to embarrass us.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be looking to embarrass us real
Embarrassed
bad,
real bad.
real bad, real bad. Like I said it, Michael Downs, he's sort of a little asshole. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So if
he's going to he's the little dude that's gonna be like, I'm not gonna stop.
yep,
I'm not gonna stop.
exactly.
He's
He's going
that
to keep
nerdy
doing
guy
it.
that like, I gotta get one more. Let's try to get one more touchdown. Let's try to get one more. Let's try this one. This double flip, double reverse triple. He's that guy, y'all.
He's that
So
guy.
Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn, don't take this lightly because this dude is trying
Please
to
don't
the way they dropped 70 on Denver, they definitely want to do that to
do
Dallas
that to Dallas.
On Christmas
Absolutely,
Eve in Miami.
absolutely,
Bruh, they trying to
absolutely.
embarrass. Don't come in here playing around.
Yeah, you can't play around with them. You gotta. This has to be taken very, very seriously because if they can embarrass you,
They are.
they will. They
That's
will.
a fact.
But
So let's
yeah.
talk about your number two, forced two turnovers. That's huge because we need a turn. We need to win the
Oh
turnover
yeah.
battle this game.
We have to. And I looked at the stats. The games that they lose, Tua turned the ball over once or twice, and they likely or they one of somebody fumbled it. What's his name? Mostert has fumbled two times in the game before. This is a game we have to get turnovers.
Yes.
We
Yes.
have to get turnovers. We have to help our offense get some short fields so that we can continue to put points up. Because this is a game that you, like you said, you and Mike said, you just want to put up as many points as possible. Like put up as many points as possible. And the way to help your offense do that is if they don't have to drive the field the whole game, they can get some short fields and stuff like that to help us put more points on the board. And when you get turnovers, that means you took away a drive from that offense, and that's exactly what you need to do. You need to take away drives from that offense. Keep them
Yeah.
off the field as much as you can.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about when you got to win the time of possession battle as well. We need to
Yep.
keep that offense off the field as much as possible.
Mhm.
We're good for the 9, 10, 11 play drives. That definitely needs to be happening in this
Yep.
game against Miami. Keep that offense off the field, drain that defense down. They're not super heavy as well. They're kind of a light in the pants as well, defense too. So you can get on them
Yep.
as well. So we have the offense to really be able to score on them at will as well.
Mhm.
Because if you look at the games that they have lost or the games just in general, teams have been able to throw the ball all on them. I mean, Will Levis came in out of nowhere and threw for almost
I
400
did
yards
see
on
that.
them. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So
That's why I got .5 down there. So
you
yeah,
feel
you
me?
can't.
And he was
Yeah.
attacking. He was attacking vertically on that defense, and was having a lot of success. So that's
Mhm.
something. Be aggressive. They were aggressive. They weren't just let's give the ball to Derrick Henry. Let's throw the ball. And
Nope.
when
Yeah,
they
they
were
threw that
aggressive,
ball.
you saw what happened. So Mike McCarthy, take a page. So number 3 right here, get 3+ sacks. Talk about that.
Yeah, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. And if he has time, that's a key point there. Trey said they have 12 rushing fumbles, so they will fumble
Huge.
that. And
That's huge.
yeah, they're small too. Like 18's real small. So like
Yeah.
you can hit the crap at two is small too. That's
Hmm.
what I think. You want to get about three in the games that they lost. Tua got sacked 3 times,
Hmm.
like 3+ times. And so that means you got pressure on him. When you get pressure on Tua, his passer rating goes real low. He's just like Josh Allen. When they have a clean pocket, they'll dice you up all day long. But when they get
Hmm.
that pressure,
Yeah. Especially
they
Tua.
can't. When Tua get that pressure, he does not see the field well.
Hmm.
He will force a pass. It's like
And he
it's
ain't a
like
big
night
dude
and day.
anyway. He ain't a big dude. He's a short guy, so you can really
Right.
affect that.
Right. This is a game you want to get your hands up,
Hands up,
deflect,
batted balls.
batted balls, deflect those passes, get into his line of sight. Because you get into his line of sight, it's pretty much a wrap. And because of
Hmm.
those incidents that happened with Tua last year, all them concussions he had, he's a guy where he sees pressure coming. He'll just fall to the ground, and stuff like that because he's not trying to get slung like a freaking rag like they were doing him last year, which was
Hmm.
making him have those concussions. So
Hmm.
he and even Mike McDaniel said that Tua's very short. He's a short quarterback. He's not
Hmm.
like I don't think he's short as Bryce Young, but he's short.
He's
He's
short.
short for he's short for the average quarterback. So they're like even in practice, Tua has to wear a camera on his helmet so that they can actually see like what are you actually seeing out there
Wow.
because like Tua is a little guy, so if he will dice you up if you don't get no pressure on him, but you get pressure and get sacks on him, it's not going to be very good performance from Tua. Period.
And you know what else? I think since we're talking about his height, we definitely need to push that pocket in the middle. That's
Push it
Osa.
right in the
Those
middle.
guys have to have a big game pushing that pocket in the middle because short quarterbacks do not like that pocket pushed in
Oh
the middle.
no,
You feel what I'm
right.
saying? Because
Hmm.
that's their line where they can be able to see that little bit of, and he's not a huge scrambling quarterback because
Yeah,
like
he's
you
not a
said
scrambling
about,
quarterback.
he's not going to scramble because he has in the back
Mm-mm.
of mind those concussions. You got to be thinking about
Hmm.
that. So he's not a guy that scrambles. So you push that pocket in the middle, make him stand where he can't see anything, throw those hands up, and that's going to be more advantageous for our defense. So Dan Quinn, we ain't saying we coach the NFL, but we are giving you some damn good pointers that you can definitely look at. So check this
Yep.
Big Star show. We turning up before you tonight, dog. So this might
Check
help
it
you
out.
out.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
talk about this number 5 because that's huge for me because that definitely needs to happen. CD needs to have one of those 150 games. But talk about that.
Yeah, this is a game where your number one can go off. DeAndre Hopkins, who hadn't really went off all year, he
Mm-hmm.
had like 120 yards.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Brown had about 150 or 100 or some crazy number. You can go off. Your number one can go off on this defense.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely now. I don't know. I know they asked Dak today about Vic Fangio. He's the one that put the blueprint out
Right,
in
right, right,
2021,
right.
and Dak's like basically saying, I wish he'll try to roll that out again. He's like it's
Mm-hmm.
not going to be successful as it was last year. This is a totally different offense, totally different. We on a different level. So he's like, I hope he tries to run out with that same game plan because if he does, we got something prepared. So this is a game where your number one can definitely go off, and you should do that. This is you can get those long drives. You want to kind of dice this defense up, take advantage. You see Howard. I love the matchup. Brandon Cooks against Howard should be eating all day as well.
Yeah.
You got
Like that.
Kohu, their slot corner. CeeDee Lamb should eat him up.
And
You
they're going to
got
be moving
Jalen.
around because I don't know if they're going to have Jalen travel with CD, but they're going to
I
keep
don't
on
know.
moving. They're going to move CD all around, so you're not going to be
Uh-huh.
able to get a beat on him. So it
Right.
ain't going
We're
to be
gonna move.
just a Jalen Ramsey thing with him.
No, we're gonna move them all around. We're gonna move all of our guys all around like we do usually. If we get that motion going and stuff like that, these guys should really have a hard time because their corners, besides Jalen Ramsey, is not that great. Then
Mm-hmm.
you've got their front. That's Nick Chubb. He's nothing to sneeze. I mean, not Nick Chubb, but Bradley Chubb. He's nothing to
Mm-hmm.
sneeze at. Or this
Christian
Van Ginkel,
Wilkins.
Christian Wilkins, and Van Ginkel.
Mm-hmm.
There, those are nothing. Sneeze at, but we should be able
We can
to
we can handle them because, like I said, they're not those heavy guys. You feel me?
right.
We
We
can kind
like
of push them around. We can run the ball on them.
yeah, we can run the ball on them. We should be able to push off the line. I mean, yeah, we have like some of the stoutest, hardest D lines to face in our own division, and I feel like Van Ginkel's good, but is he Hassan Reddick? No.
Right. Right.
Wilkins is
Right.
great. He's great, but is he Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter? No, like he's not those guys. So I definitely think this is something that we definitely should be able to hold up and do our parts. And if Zach has to sit, I don't know if he will sit, but I like what I saw from TJ
So
Bass.
did I. So did I.
Was it all world? No, but was it good enough for us to win? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if Tyron, I don't want him to sit, but if he has to sit, Schumer's got a lot of starts and reps for us, and he's a guy that he can hold up pretty decently. So, he's not Tyron Smith. He's likely he gonna give up some pressures. He may
Mm-hmm.
give up a sack, but
Mm-hmm.
I like our offensive line depth. That's probably the one depth that I'm like not really worried about because I think we have guys that can come in and do a pretty decent job backing up, being backups. But that's just
Mm-hmm.
my opinion on that.
Yeah, I can roll with that as well. I like because we got the Asim Richards, TJ Bass. I thought came in and filled in wonderfully. Was it perfect? No, but
Yeah.
let's remember he was undrafted. He wasn't a guy that was picked in any rounds. So for you
Mhm.
having an undrafted rookie offensive lineman thrown in the fire to perform like
Mhm.
he did, that's very admirable, and that's what we like to see. Because
Mhm.
that could be a future guy, and he's cheap. And Stephen Jones love that.
And
So
he's cheap
if TJ Bass keep turning up and you cheap, yeah, that's something that we definitely would like going into the future
for
ahead of
sure.
this time. So as we kind of get ready to close here, Star, kind of
Mhm.
what how do you feel about this game? Do you have a score prediction? What's your real thoughts about this game? Like deep inside, deep in the crevices of your soul, what do you feel about this game?
uh, I don't have a score prediction, but I will say that I'm gonna be honest. At the beginning of the week, I wasn't as optimistic. I actually said I was pretty scared of this game because I'm like, this just doesn't feel like a good matchup at all. But I do think I do have faith that usually after beatdowns, we perform a lot better. So I do expect the guys to perform a lot better. I expect, this offense to realize
Mm-hmm.
let's stop choking in big
Mm-hmm.
games and being scared and let's just run our offense and let them show us that they can stop it instead of
Mm-hmm.
stopping ourselves. And I think now on this defensive side of the ball, I don't know.
This is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, like I really
I
don't
don't know
know
either.
what Dan Quinn is gonna do. And one thing I don't like about Dan Quinn is he doesn't take accountability. Every time the defense doesn't play well, he just says, "Oh, we just didn't play up to our standards." To me, you're kind of just saying, "Oh, my players just played like trash today. They'll do better next week." Like when we mess up offensively, Mike is like, "I need to do better. I played scared. I called the game scared. I didn't do the right thing. It starts with me." Mike takes accountability when he messes up. Dan Quinn, I don't see you taking accountability, bruh. So it's like, I don't know if Dan Quinn sees his scheme or himself as the problem, or if he just thinks, it doesn't matter. My guys are my guys. They're just going to line up and play better than you. I don't know. So we really just have to see what adjustments, because what separates good from the great, and Dak said it today, great coaches know how to use their personnel to their strengths. So if we see J. Ron Curse out there at free safety again, if we see they're running all over us, so we just keep Micah locked at the edge, and we're just letting Marquise Bell and Damone Clark get basically like bowling pins, just get knocked down, that'll tell us all we need to know about Dan Quinn. And we're pretty much it's just solidifying further that this is an offensive led team, and Dak in the offense is going to have to put up all of these points for us to win meaningful games, which really isn't good going into playoffs. Because in playoffs, that's when people play defense and they run the ball. Because this is a game where you can't afford mistakes. You can't afford mistakes because it's win or go home. So I don't know. We'll see what Dan Quinn does. This is definitely a game where it's gonna likely be on Dan Quinn to show up and show us that he can adjust.
Yeah, this is a Dan Quinn game for me. Let's just say that from my perspective, this is the Dan Quinn game.
Yep.
You received a lot of heat. Just like you said, the team bounces back after a loss, but this is, to me, I want to see a defensive bounce back performance. Okay. I need to see a
Yeah.
bounce back performance. And
Hmm.
you know what? When Dan Quinn was over there at Atlanta and he was the head coach, when he first came in, everybody was loving Quinn when he went to that Super Bowl. But boy, that wore out real quick. And I don't know if this is happening here in Dallas. You get what I'm saying? Because when you first came in on the scene, everybody loved Dan Quinn, and then it then it
Oh
wore
yeah.
and then it wore out quickly in Atlanta.
We're out.
And it wasn't a long, it wore out quick. and you were gone.
quick.
You were fired.
it was You
You
were
feel
out
me?
of there.
You was
And
out of there real quick.
that's why I'm saying, like, I've been saying it publicly. I'm like, I'm at this point, unless Dan Quinn shows me something different, I'm kind of out on Dan Quinn, because I'm like, I don't know if you can take this defense further than what you already have. I don't know if you're the type of coach or leader that our players need, just to be honest. Like, I don't know, because I'm
Are you
like,
too buddy, or
to exactly the way that they describe you. Oh, you're like our uncle. You're like this. You're just like cool with us, and we love Dan, and Dan listens to our music, and it just seems like you're too busy trying to be buddy,
yeah? Because if you're
and
friends with them, they ain't gonna continue to respect you. It's just
r-
like a parent with a child. That
is
they're gonna love you, but
they don't.
they ain't gonna listen to you as much.
Exactly. And I say, I don't think the player, it's not like it's not that they don't respect him,
Right, right.
but they don't fear him. They don't revere him, and I'm like, I don't know if this would be, if we, I just I don't see that in the players. I don't see reverence. I don't see fear. I don't see, we don't want to let Dan down. Like, we need to play back. I don't see that from them. So, I don't know if Dan Quinn really is the guy. He'll have to show us. I mean, we'll obviously see how our season turns out. Because I remember last year we said, listen, if there's somebody who's gonna be the reason why we don't make it to the championship, it's gonna be Kellen Moore. And
Hmm.
now in my back of my head, I'm saying, listen, if we don't go far in playoffs, it's gonna be because of Dan Quinn.
You ain't
That's
lying.
what I'm that's what I'm feeling
I,
right now. He
I,
can prove me otherwise, but that's what I feel right now. So
I,
I
I,
don't
I,
know.
I can. I feel you with that one. Because just like you said, I feel like you need to take this defense to another level now. Okay, because you got the defense about 3 years ago, and we
Three
saw
years.
we saw how you changed it, right? You
Mm-hmm.
changed it,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't stay right there,
Mm-mm.
right? This defense had we thought at the beginning of the year this defense was that. We
We
kept on
thought
seeing
so.
we that's what we thought. But we found out it's
Yeah.
not. It's a good defense, but it ain't elite. Okay, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's
It's
not
not
an
elite.
elite defense. And Dan
Yep.
Quinn has to show how good of a coach he is right now
He is.
because
Yep.
you are going against this explosive Miami Dolphins. And right
Yep.
after them, you got them damn Lions coming to town, and they still might want some playoff seating. And they got a mentality over there. They got a
Yeah, they
mentality
do.
over there. Dan Quinn got a, I mean,
Mhm.
Dan Campbell got a
Dan
mentality.
Campbell.
He got a
Mm-hmm.
mentality over there. Okay. So,
Yeah.
and then even going and even traveling to Washington, that's upset special. They watch, you feel me? So these three games, especially defensively, is what we're going to be looking at. And as you said before, Star, don't be the reason in these playoffs of why we lose, because you gave a great performance last year in those playoffs
Yep.
defensively, but you have to take it to another level this year.
Level,
Because
because
if this team wants to go there, this defense has to go to another level in the playoffs. Period.
total, yeah, total another level. And
Period.
we did limit Shanahan's defense in the playoffs, but look what happened this season.
Mm-hmm.
They had, Dan Quinn had zero answers.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, Dan Quinn. Like, you gotta step up, because right now it's not even just the gurus that have your number. I mean, look what the Seattle Seahawks did to us. I mean, like, you are getting got, and you need to figure it out. You need to figure it out, because in the playoffs, our offense will be playing the top defenses. It's really not realistic to expect your offense to be putting up 35 to 40 points in the playoffs. It's just really not realistic. Like, it can happen. I mean, we did it last year versus the Bucks, I think. But I mean, okay, but that was the first round. Once you start getting into the top teams, I mean, is that realistic to expect that from your offense? I don't really think it is. Like, you got to play defense in the playoffs. So
You,
we'll see what happens.
I mean, just one last thing. I'm gonna say this: the top teams that you just mentioned, right? You're gonna play good teams in the playoffs, right? And you have to
Mhm.
have defense. Well, the teams that we lost to this year and the winning teams, right? Okay,
Mhm.
Cardinals not a winning team, but they still dropped 26 points on us. Eagles, winning team, they dropped 28. Buffalo, winning record, they dropped 31 on us. San Francisco, winning record, they dropped 42 on us. Seattle, we beat them, winning record, they dropped 35 on us. You get is there
You get the picture?
you're
Yeah.
getting the picture right here that these
Yeah.
teams, the good teams, that not the bad teams, because see,
The
we was averaging under 18 points a game, but that's deceiving because we're playing not so great teams. So our defense jumps on them. You feel me? They don't have
mhm.
it. But whenever we played a good team that has the firepower, we're giving up damn near 30 points a game defensively.
That's gotta stop. Gotta stop. And I
That's
just
just
think like
real.
that's real. That I mean, they only, and I can't blame it on because I'm like we've got talented players on defense. The defense just feels like, and you can tell the defense gets deflated
Easy.
when they feel like the coaches is not setting them up for success. They get deflated. They get discouraged. They get down on themselves. And you got Al Harris trying to rally the troops on the sideline, but they're already like, man, this game, they're in their heads, right? This game plan is trash. You don't want your players to stop believing in your vision. Because I haven't heard, I don't know if you, but have y'all heard anybody in the defense speaking highly of Dan Quinn this year? I haven't heard it. I have not heard a single player that, oh, we just loved it. Now, I heard it from years past, but I haven't heard it this year. I have not heard it this year. So, and that what Gilly said, it kind of sounds like a shot at Dan Quinn. Like you can't line up.
Now, how can it not be if you're sitting there saying it's 3rd and 3 and we can't be 10 yards off the ball? How can it not be? And I don't think it was like a disrespectful shot. It was a real.
No,
Hey,
it was just
we
I'm being
can't
real.
we can't do this in this game against this team, or we're going to get our butts handed to us.
Our butts
That's what I
kicks.
that's what I heard Gilly say. So
Yeah,
we're gonna see, Star. It's just gonna
yeah.
be one of them games. I can't make a
We'll
score
see.
prediction either, because I don't
Mm-mm.
know, because is this defense is Jekyll and Hyde, and it needs to step up, and we need to see what Dan Quinn does. So I don't have
Yep.
no trust in the defense right now. So
At all.
I don't trust Dan Quinn. I don't trust the defense, and I
Nope.
can't even jump out there anymore because I don't know what's going to happen. And
Exactly.
we remember how we were feeling like that with
With
McCarthy in the
Kelly,
beginning.
yep.
Kellen and McCarthy, like, come on, McCarthy, get it
Like
together. And he
we
switched
don't
it
know
real
what's gonna
quick.
happen.
He switched it real
Mm-hmm.
quick though. He switched it
Yep.
real quick.
He
Don't
switched it up
don't
immediately.
you don't you go back to reverting either, McCarthy. You feel me? It's gonna be warm out there, so don't you revert. You better stay aggressive.
Exactly.
It's gonna be
Gotta
warm.
say you
So
gotta stay aggressive, man. Like that's the only way that we're gonna win. You gotta play your brand of football. Anytime you play scared to the vest, like how many games you need to lose to figure out that's not the solution. It's
exactly.
not the solution to play scared. It's just not.
Yeah, and we won't win games, especially this team. When we play like that, we tend to always get our butts kicked. When
Kicked.
we don't just lose by 5, 7 points. We get blown out.
It's
So
a blown out. It's a blowout. Yeah.
that's something needs to change. But hey,
Yep.
another great show in the books, the Big Star
Yep.
Show, another great one. Great information, man. You need to rewind this show. Hey, if you players want to watch the show, man. We ain't hating, but we is getting some
Exactly.
good. We
Tune
get
in.
well, yeah, tune in. You feel me? This was an awesome show. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of great information. Star killed it today, as usual. You feel me? Check out those star points and let them know, Star. You know how we do it at the end. Let them know where they can find all your handles so they can go ahead and continue to support what you're doing. And make sure you mention your show that you do on
With
Wednesdays
Mickey.
with
Yeah.
Mickey. Make sure you mention that show so they can check you out.
Yeah, guys. Y'all can find me on Twitter. Twitter's where I'm like most active. I pretty much on there every day, giving my daily thoughts and stuff like that. So you can follow me on Twitter at the Stargazer. But instead of a E, it's a 3 and it's 2 R's at the end. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. Facebook. My Facebook is Stargazer Sports Media. My Instagram is stargazer_sports, and my TikTok is stargazer dot sports. So you can find me on all of those platforms. You can feel free to donate to my Cash App down there, $ Stargazer Sports, and then also check out my show with my girl Craven Cowboys. We do a show every Wednesday called Star Chasers Girls Talk Ball. So we just did a show yesterday, so y'all can find that. It's pinned to my Twitter page, but it's also on my YouTube page. So y'all can definitely check that out for sure.
Yeah, man. And like I said, hey, please go support as much as you can on both channels. We're almost at 15K on YouTube. So more, hey, we're right there. So
Yep.
let's try to get some more subscribers up so we can make that happen. And let's continue to build Stars channel. Let hey, she got some fire over there, man. Her and Craven got some fire. I actually peeked into your show yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was ghost watching. I ain't gonna lie, I was ghost watching. I just stay silent, just watched and listen.
Yeah.
But please go check out their show. They're doing a lot of great things over there, and I ain't just saying it because we doing this together. She got a lot of information, man. She really handling your business in the streets. You had me watching your stuff today when you were doing that Gilly stuff. So keep on killing it out there, Star. So without further ado, it's the Big Star Show again. We'll be here next week, and hopefully, when we're talking next week, we're talking victory that we got against them Dolphins. Hopefully, we talking Dan Quinn switched the game up and that a defense shows some things. Hopefully, we talking
Hopefully.
about that, and we ain't sitting like here like this. Hopefully, we ain't sitting there like this next week.
Because that's exactly what we gonna be doing. It's just like it's gonna put a different. It's not the end of the world, but it's gonna put
a different vibe. It's
a
gonna be
different vibe and taste in our mouth if we get blown out 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
for sure. So for myself, Big Game James and Mr. Stargazer, we'll be talking to you soon.